My research presentation is on Kabuki theatre. Kabuki originated in 1603 and is one of the three most popular Japanese traditions now. Its meaning is song dance technique, and it is a form of musical drama consisting with elaborate costumes, makeup, stylized dancing, music and acting. Kabuki was created by Izumo no Ukuni, who was a female shrine attendant for the Great Shrine of Izumo. She and Kabuki became popular through the use of parodies of Buddhist prayers, as well as exotic skits and outlandish cross-dressing. As a result of these exotic skits and cross-dressing, there was a havoc in the theatre as women became prostitutes. Therefore, the Tokugawa shogunate, the Japanese government at the time, banned them from performing. Instead, they got the male actors to perform instead, and males both played male and female roles, which is known as onagata. However, the male actors also then became prostitutes. So the Tokugawa shogunate had to enforce restrictions even further, so now only old male actors can perform and only to perform strictly theatrical dramas. The kudogo are the assistants on the stage. They are dressed in black and they are used for prop changes and costume changes for the actors. You can see one here. They are dressed in black as they are to be considered as non-existent on the stage. Recently, compilations of acting reviews for Kabuki have been discovered in the storeroom of Misonosa, and one passage has said, "Excellent performance. It was always as if a real woman was on stage and his performance were live." The mie are poses that the Kabuki actors do. These are long, drawn-out poses to increase tension or any other emotion that they are feeling, to make it obvious to the rest of the audience. Paul Griffith has written that mie poses are struck at moments of heightened tension and, like a picture or sculpture, they present to the audience in physical form a powerful crystallization of emotion. You can see one actor here posing in a mie. In terms of the staging of Kabuki, some stages have revolving doors or platforms and trapdoors, which allow for quick scene changes, as well as actors appearing and disappearing. The hanamichi, which is this long bridge, essentially here and here, are used for the actors to enter and exit on the stage by drawing attention to themselves for the audience. You may be able to see that the decorative backdrops here, which do not change throughout the entirety of a Kabuki play. As I mentioned, the onagata, they are male actors who perform female roles, and they do this over their career, so they are essentially experts and masters of performing onagata. It is believed that only a man could so perfectly portray a woman, and that the male actors can perform the delicate nuances of feminine lifestyle, that women will even go to the theatre to learn elegant deportment and feminine charm from him. I have a video as well from Tamasuro Bando, who is a Kabuki actor, and again he's also a master of this. You can see here though the decorative costume, which I mentioned as well, and how it drapes to the floor as well. It was seen as impolite for women to show their feet. It was to see that the movements that he does as well are very graceful and elegant and have a sweeping motion to them.
When it comes to this custom, known as onagata, Tamasaburo Bando is an undisputed star.
Even
if I transform into a woman on stage, I am a man. I've never been a woman. The concept of onagata is based on how a man imagines a woman. It's nothing more than a mental construction based on the masculine ideal of a woman.
So as I said about the long decorative costumes, as I said, it was impolite for them to show their feet while performing. Similarly, you can see the long sleeves here as well, which is typical of the female characters in Kabuki. Similarly, it was impolite sometimes to show hands in certain situations, so they would use the long sleeves to cover their hands as well, and also their faces in times, for example, with weeping. Some of the movements of Kabuki Kabuki as well show a lot about the art form. One of them, which is the sitting of a woman, essentially is seen as quite normal in the sense that you sweep one leg underneath, sweeping the costume under as well, and you sit. However, the hands, if they're at the top of the thigh, show that it is a young woman, and if they're at the bottom of the thigh, depict an older woman. So you can see the subtle differences which can tell a lot about a female actor and the character itself. However, you must keep your hands and knees together, which is quite difficult as well if you've ever tried it. It's not that easy. In terms of walking, they walk normally, but you would have to tilt your head and shoulder and drop your hip all on the same side. But it's very important that your hips do not swing. So an example of the walking would be like so. You can see my dropped shoulder and my head tilting as well. The reason that the hips don't flow, I think, is very interesting because it's essentially the opposite from Western theatre. In Western theatre, typically women would swish their hips a lot more to sexualise the woman. However, the Japanese ideals of what a woman should be require her to not move her hips. Again, as I said about impolite to show the feet, it's also impolite to show your teeth as well. So for laughing, you would hold your hand in front and you would stretch out your index finger like so that you cannot see the teeth at all. The play I've chosen to do is The Raisin, but first I think it's also interesting to note the classification of the plays. They're not like Western theatre, again very different, as normally in Western theatre they are classified by composition like tragedy, comedy, farce, melodrama, etc. However, in Kabuki, they are classified by subject matter. For example, the Siamono plays, which are based on the lives of tradesmen in the Edo period. So back to the play of The Raisin. The woman in that is called Kofuji, and one of her lines is, "But let us be together, at least in our dreams." On this line, she has to fall down weeping. From learning about how to sit as a female actor for Kabuki, I had to remember that they had to be very elegant and very gentle in their movements as well. So even though she's fall down and she's very emotional, she's weeping, it has to be done very elegantly. Similarly to the sit, I would fall like so, still trying to keep as much grace as I could. And then for the weeping, as I said, it was sometimes used, the sleeves are used to cover their faces. This is the time when you would cover your face with the sleeve and make as little noise as possible when weeping. So the line would be, "But let us be together at least in our dreams," and then cover her face as she weeps. Later in the play, she says, "Oh Father," and she gets up. Now, whilst in Western theatre, the exclamation of "Oh Father" is a time of joy and excitement. She would normally jump up and be very enthusiastic and excited about what was happening. However, in The Raisin, you have to, and in Kabuki itself, you must remember that their acts have to be very graceful and delicate still. So for this, I would try and get up as gently as I could with as few movements as possible. So I've gotten up as well, but try to keep the grace of the female actor there, and saying "Oh Father." So a connection that Kabuki has to another theatre is the English Renaissance. And this is because neither Kabuki or the English Renaissance allowed women to perform. In the English Renaissance period, it was believed to be too tempting for to see a female body portrayed in such a way, and if it was considered immoral. Similarly to Kabuki and its promiscuous past, in the sense of the prostitutes and the temptation from the audience. The impact that this has had on me as an actor means that I can now understand and see the different interpretations of what is considered the ideal woman around the world in Japan and Western theatre. So like with the hips movements particularly. I can also now use subtle gestures to show the characters' details, such as the age, rather than being reliant on speech and costume. So with these subtle gestures of the hand movements, showing the femininity, means I can also be more gracious when portraying a female character. For being more gracious in the sense that the Kabuki movements have to be very graceful and elegant when acting. I have tried to incorporate this as well, so that I am now more gracious. Thank you.